It's often asked, why did we, as human beings, become masters of the world? After all, there's some 30 million species on the face of the planet. Why do we become the master? Well, it turns out genetics gives us a very good clue. Because through genetics, we can trace our ancestry back to a very small group of Africans, back who lived in the East African Rift Valley 150,000 years ago. And from that small group of Africans, we basically take our lineage that everyone on the face of the earth comes from that group. Well, what gave this small group of Africans this unique advantage? It turns out by living in the East African Rift Valley, they were surrounded, they couldn't fish, that's a very complex skill, but they could collect seashells. And those seashells contained limited, but nonetheless contained some amounts of omega-3 fatty acids that allowed their brain power to increase. And basically that small advantage gave them the ability to really dominate all of Africa. And then 100,000 years ago, to leave Africa and populate the rest of the world. And the real explosion of mankind occurred about 40,000 years ago when he actually learned how to fish. Now he could basically consume even more omega-3 fatty acids, and there came the explosion of things out of nowhere: art, religion, social structure. And basically mankind has never looked back. For us, the thing that gave us the ability to dominate the world was fish oil consumption. Our brains are primarily composed of omega-3 fatty acids. And as we take that out of our diet, we run the risk of losing the advantage that allowed us to basically conquer the world. And it does not take long, okay, because animal studies are quite clear. Within 2 generations, if you take these omega-3 fatty acids out of the diet, brain power decreases dramatically. And we're seeing this already in the American population, where it's been about 2 to 3 generations where we have decreased the levels of fish oil consumption. And what do we find? Greater incidence of neurological disorders, greater incidence of learning disorders, greater incidence of attention deficit disorder, because this is the critical component that made us human. And the studies have shown also with prisoners or people prone to violence, if you add these omega-3 fatty acids back to their diet, dramatically, within a matter of weeks, they become far less violent. They become far more human. And basically, this is the thing that made us human, and now we're consuming less of it now than any time in our history, and we seem to have more and more violence. Well, I believe there is a connection.